US President Donald Trump is cranking up the heat on trade relations, moving forward with 25% tariffs on goods imported from Canada and Mexico. In his latest move, Trump announced that time had run out for reaching a deal and tariffs are set to go into effect immediately. That's on Tuesday. But that's not all. An additional 10% tariff on Chinese imports is expected to roll out soon, pushing all three of America's top trading partners into a perfect storm of higher trade barriers. Over the weekend, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau weighed in from a summit on Ukraine in London, calling out the Trump administration's claims about Canada's role in the fentanyl crisis.
The facts establish very clearly that Canada is not an issue in terms of source of illegal fentanyl into the United States. We had about less than 1% when we first started talking about this many months ago. That number is significantly lower than that, even now. But we all know the American administration will make its own choices in terms of tariffs. We will continue to work to ensure, to do everything we can to make sure that there are no tariffs on Tuesday. But if ever there were tariffs on Tuesday, as we have all seen, as we were ready to do last time, we will have a strong, unequivocal, and proportional response as Canadians expect.
On Monday, Canadian Foreign Minister Melanie Joly made it clear that Canada wouldn't back down.
If Trump is imposing tariffs, we're ready. We are ready with $155 billion worth of tariffs, and we're ready with the first tranche of tariffs, which is $30 billion, which is already known. We know that this is an existential threat to us, and there are thousands of jobs in Canada at stake. Now, we've done the work. We are ready should the US decide to launch their trade war. We will be ready. We are not looking for this. We're not seeking this. But at the same time, let's all remember, when President Trump is talking about imposing tariffs, it must be linked to what's going on at the border, because he has an executive order that is linked to the fact that there is a national security crisis. And so we know that's not the case at the border. We know we have a good plan. We know that we've invested in it. We know that we've answered questions that the Trump administration had regarding our efforts. And so in that sense, based on that, we're having constructive conversations, but I've said it to you many, many times, there's a level of unpredictability and chaos that comes out of the Oval Office, and we will be dealing with it.
And if that wasn't enough, Mexico and China are also readying their retaliatory measures, heightening fears of a global trade war. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum delivered a stern message to Trump, saying at a public event in Colima that Mexico has to be respected.
Las reuniones en Estados Unidos estuvieron muy bien. Hay comunicación permanente con las distintas áreas, tanto seguridad como comercio, y vamos a esperar qué pasa. En esto hay que tener temple, serenidad y paciencia. Y tenemos plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D. Es una decisión que depende del gobierno de Estados Unidos, eso es muy importante. O sea, de nuestra parte, pues hemos estado en comunicación, hemos hecho los acuerdos y las coordinaciones necesarias. Pero es una decisión que depende del gobierno de los Estados Unidos, del presidente de los Estados Unidos. Entonces, cualquiera que sea esta decisión, pues nosotros también tomaremos nuestras decisiones. Y hay plan, y hay unidad en México, eso nos fortalece mucho, mucho.
Across the Pacific, China isn't backing down either. The Chinese government has vowed to retaliate against the US tariffs, particularly the new 10% tariffs on Chinese imports set to take effect on the 4th of March. The added 10% brings the total tariff on Chinese goods to 20% following Trump's frustration over China's handling of fentanyl flaws. The Chinese Commerce Ministry fired back, accusing the US of trying to shift the blame and undermining the stability of global industrial and supply chains. China urged the US to immediately withdraw its unilateral tariff measures that are unreasonable and groundless, harmful to others, according to the ministry, reported by Reuters. The MOFCOM spokesperson accused the US of disregarding facts, international trade rules, and the voices of various parties, saying that the US move is a typical example of unilateralism and bullying. Chinese website The Global Times reported on Monday that China had American agricultural and food products in its crosshairs and that it would hit back with a series of both tariffs and non-tariff measures. And it's not just Canada, Mexico, and China that are in Trump's crosshairs. The US president is also pushing forward with a 25% tariff on all steel and aluminum imports, which is set to hit on the 12th of March. Additionally, Trump has threatened to impose reciprocal tariffs on individual countries, including a potential 25% tariff on the European Union. With all these escalating tensions, it's clear that trade wars are heating up across the globe. Whether Trump's strategy will ultimately pay off or backfire remains to be seen, but one thing is certain: the global economy is bracing for impact. As countries across the world prepare their retaliations, it looks like trade relations are about to get a lot more complicated. Stay tuned to the official YouTube channel of the Indian Express, because this is just the beginning of what could be a global trade war.